What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. So, gonna be probably a quicker show today, but let's get into it. This actually happened only a few minutes before I started recording. Bills extend receiver Khalil Shakir 76 catches for 821 yards and 4 I put the numbers first, not the contract. I'm looking at the numbers right now. Shakir gets a 4-year extension for $60 million. Career last year for him, 76 catches, 821 yards, and 4 touchdowns, almost 11 yards per catch. On the surface, probably a slight overpay. I mean, he's getting $15 million a year. He's proven he can be a solid 2 or 3 in his league. I probably would have gone maybe to 10 to 12 million for him. 15's a little much. However, he did have a very good year last year. Part of it may have been Josh Allen obviously elevating him as he does, but regardless, Shakir did perform very well last year. But best year of his career by far was going to the last year of his rookie deal. I sure the Bills want to keep him in town. You know, the receiving core is a little thin, as is, especially with Mac Hollins hitting the open market. So I can see why they want to keep him in town long term. So they extend Khalil Shakir for 4 years. And then the Saints are hiring Brandon Staley as their defensive coordinator. I just don't understand. These poor Saints fans. From their team continually running out these old, mediocre rosters every year. Can't even compete in the worst division ever. You know, how Mickey Loomis has lasted this long is a mystery and a half. Keep running it back with Dennis Allen. You did that for almost 3 years. And then you bring Kellen Moore. Okay, just won a Super Bowl as a coordinator. Cool, but, I don't know why you waited this long to get a head coach. Probably because no one wanted that job. Now you bring in Staley as your defensive coordinator. He might be a fine defensive coordinator. Also, he was also the DC on that Rams team that was stacked of Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and all those guys. So not that threatened. Just the guy's just a goofball. I don't love his hire, to be honest. And just, their ownership is being alleged of some heinous stuff, and they are just in football purgatory if I've ever seen it. So Saints hire Staley. Jaguars have found their general manager. Rams exec James Gladstone will be their GM. I think he was in their scouting department. Okay, look, the Rams scout talent pretty well. I mean, you got, a lot of pieces on my defense. Byron Young and a couple of guys that they didn't take very high. Looks like you hit on Jared Verse in the first round this year. So, on the surface, it doesn't seem like a bad hire. However, I've never heard of this guy. You never know that there are GMs and coaches who I'm not really familiar with who get jobs. Like, ooh, that's weird. He wasn't very highly touted. And then, all of a sudden, they turn into a good coach or a GM, so you never know. But, I mean, this guy was completely off everyone's radar. That shows you how highly touted this Jaguars GM job was. And they waited. And they fired Doug Pearson, the head coach, the day after the season. And then they waited 3 weeks to fire the GM. I don't know why they did that. So, Liam Cohen, James Gladstone, and the new regime in Jacksonville. Feel a little bit about the GM and the coach. Cohen, I don't know how it's going to work out. In a couple of years, I think they'll be doing that again. We're looking for a head coach, but James Gladstone, good lord. I mean, I don't know much about him. My service seems like a fine hire, but who's to say? No one really knows too much about the guy. And Greg Popovich is not expected to return to the Spurs sidelines here. He had a stroke a few months ago, so he's dealing with some medical problems. So he's not expected to return to the sideline this season, and his future is very uncertain. This may be the end of his coaching career. If so, he's arguably the greatest coach of all time. It's a real shame we didn't get to see him coach Victor Wembanyama if that is the case, but I hope that Greg Popovich gets well soon. Not only for himself, but just for the world and for just basketball in general as well. Let's continue with my NFL Offseason Series. We're going to finish up the AFC South today. Let's start with the Tennessee Titans. They have a lot of needs. They had a really horrible year this year. Only won, 3 games. They have number 1 overall pick in the draft. They have a new GM. I don't know why. I mean, the GM they brought in, I don't hate the hire, though I don't know why they fired Rand Carfin. That didn't make a lot of sense. You fired, because you fired a great coach in Mike Vrabel, so you can keep the GM, then fire the GM a year later. And they have Brian Callahan and obviously a new general manager. So, but they need a lot. Obviously, starting with quarterback, I don't know how you can run it back with Will Levis, who was a 2nd-round pick. He was not very highly touted coming out of Kentucky. I mean, he played football at Kentucky, first of all. Let's start there. He's funny to watch because he's a meme, but when it comes to being good at football, no, he's not, and never has been. And obviously, Mason Rudolph isn't a starter in this league either. So, like, what do you do at quarterback? I really hope they don't reach for a quarterback at 1. I don't see it with Cam Moore or Shedeur Sanders or any of these guys. I think Jackson Dart might be the best quarterback in this draft, and he's probably a 2nd or 3rd-round draft pick. At least he should be. So I have him signing Mac Jones. Give him a year for $9 million. Mac Jones is very bad. He is not a starter in this league. 1st-round draft bust for sure. Obviously did not work out in New England for 3 years. Was the backup in Jackson this year. Ended up playing a bunch because Trevor Lawrence was hurt. So was started for like half the season or so. Obviously didn't go very well. Jacksonville, another dreadful year. Only wins for 4 or 5 games and ends up with the 5th pick again. But I'm hearing that Mac Jones could be headed, for a reason he's on their radar. A lot of people think he'll end up playing for them, and I kind of see why. I look at the vets on the market. There's a lot of older quarterbacks available, like Matthew Stafford's probably best of the bunch if they trade for him. But does it make sense to give up a couple of higher mid-round picks for him, pay him all that money behind this offensive line? I do have them bring in some pieces to help the offensive line, but as it stands for now, that line is horrendous, one of the worst in the league. So, and Stafford's a statue. Aaron Rodgers, same deal. Russell Wilson, not as much of a statue, but it simply doesn't have a lot left. And he'll hold on to the ball forever. Can move a little bit, not what he once could whatsoever. So, the Titans probably shouldn't go that route. I say, there's really no saving this team this year. You have a young head coach. We already know if he knows what he's doing. You have a rookie GM. You have a young roster. You don't have a quarterback. This is not a good situation. Bring in Mac Jones. I would take a shot on Jackson Dart, Dylan Gabriel, or one of these kids. Start Mac Jones because I don't know if he can throw every rookie behind the offensive line. They will get killed. So, Mac Jones for like a short-term fix. Maybe he's a tank commander. Whatever. You also need another receiver. You're running Calvin Ridley for a lot of money last year. He's still a decent receiver, but he needs a little bit of help in that receiver room. The rest of that receiver room is really bad. So I've been adding Marquise Brown. Should be able to get him on probably a 1-year deal for $8 or $10 million. Last year only played a couple of games. He got injured in preseason, the Chiefs, but hasn't quite lived up being maybe a 1st-round pick by the Ravens a bunch of years ago. But he's still a solid deep threat. If you give him a good quarterback, he can be a legit deep threat. You saw him what he did with Kyler Murray. Kyler's not even a world beater, but he did perform with Kyler Murray. With Pat Mahomes, he looked pretty good with Pat Mahomes at the end of this past season. So obviously, Titans I have him. They're gonna have like Mac Jones or something like that as a quarterback. That's not ideal, but it's something. You can survive with him as your two. It's just because of the speed and what he brings in the slot. So you bring him in. Going to the offensive line, they need to help it out. They have 2 young tackles. Their line's weird. I'm not sure what they're trying to do. You have you run in Lloyd Cushenberry last year, center on a big deal. He wasn't great this past year. One tackle is Skaronski you took in the 1st round 2 years ago. He's a guard to me. I had concerns if he would be a tackle long-term coming out. And he's, I think, pretty clearly a guard. They should probably move him, but for now they're keeping him at tackle. Drafted J.C. Latham this past year. He was just okay. He's a rookie. I'm sure he'll get better. And then, so they really need to at least improve the interior. So I have them signing a pair of guards. One is Greg Van Roten. He's older. He's like 34. But he's been around the league. He was with the Jets for a little bit. He was recently with the Bills. He was in Carolina for a while. That's where he had his best years probably. Probably get him on a short-term deal. Probably shouldn't break the bank. He had a decent year last year. He can also play center. So get him out there. Another guy I have him signing is Evan Brown. He had a solid year in Arizona last year. I'll be bringing him in. Probably like a similar contract, one or 2 years. Shouldn't cost more than $5 or $6, $7 million per year. That doesn't look great. You're right. Brown, Van Roten as your guards with Cushenberry in the middle. Your tackles are Skoronski and Latham. If you get solid guard play from Van Roten and Brown, and Latham take a step forward, the line isn't horrible. It's a little bit better. You have a great old line coach there, and Bill Callahan, of course, Brian Callahan's father. If you give him a little bit of talent, maybe he can work some magic. And then let's go to the. I have him letting go of Kenneth Murray. He just wasn't very good last year. It saved them almost $7.5 million in cap space. They didn't really need to save it more money, but I thought that was the right move for them to make. Going to the defensive side of the ball, I have him bring in Dre Greenlaw. I think it's going to be a really good signing. You probably get him on a 1-year deal. He missed most of last year coming off a torn Achilles from the Super Bowl in the year prior. When healthy, he's an all-pro, very underrated. Kind of got overshadowed because playing next to Fred Warner, all the talent that Niners have. But he's one of the best inside linebackers in the entire league. Probably top 5, to be honest. He's an all-pro caliber player when he's healthy. Give him a prove deal. Worst case, you're horrible, and you can flip him at a trade deadline for a mid-round draft pick. But he's a really good linebacker. I think you bring him in. Again, you could probably get him on a privilege since he didn't play much last year. Also, Stephon Gilmore, I have them signing. You can get him on, another guy you can get on a 1-year deal. But Gilmore is now 34 years old. He's much older. He's at the back end of his career. He's not going to win a defensive player of the year like he did 6 or 7 years ago with the Patriots. But and he's not what he once was in coverage. He's just kind of in coverage, but he's still a good corner overall. So a starting caliber corner. You can use one more outside corner. I'll bring in Stephon Gilmore. That's why I've done. So I'll tell you, it's not perfect. Gonna be another long year next year, most likely. But it's probably the best they can do. Up next is the Indianapolis Colts. So the Colts, again, where do I even start with them? I have them making 3 moves. They don't have a ton of cap space. And there's really no one that you can really cut loose. Unless you try and trade Michael Pittman, you would save $13 million if you trade Michael Pittman. You also have a $10 million dead cap. But I do think he's overpaid at $23 million a year. Well, he's making $23 million next year. Yeah, I think he's going to make probably even more than that in year 3 of his extension. He's a good receiver. He's better than what they have. One of the better-ish receivers in the league. You have a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson, who I don't think is very good, but you got to give him something. So they got to improve the offensive line, I think. I think Tevin Jenkins will be a really good move for them. I think you can get him on probably like a 2 or 3 year deal. Give him $11.5 million, $12 million, or something like that. He's one of the bright spots on the Bears line, which I did not think was as bad as the numbers showed last year. He's turned to a solid guard. Like, came up a tackle coming out of Oklahoma State. They moved him to guard and ended up being the right move. Tevin Jenkins to the Colts because you have him and Quentin Nelson at guard, and then your left tackle Raymond had a good year last year from a 3rd rounder. And then Braden Smith is also really good. All of a sudden, the line looks a lot better with Tevin Jenkins. You have a quarterback that is mobile, but he needs time to throw the ball. He's gonna move around a lot. He also takes a lot of hits, so you gotta protect him. Bring in Tevin Jenkins. Next 2 moves are on the defensive side of the ball. One is Devondre Campbell. Look, what Campbell did last year was just pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic quitting on his team. However, he is a really good player. He's a former All-Pro linebacker. Someone's going to take a chance on him. I think that team is the Colts. They're desperate enough that they needed a inside linebacker badly since Darius Leonard fell off, and then they gave him away. So bring him in on a 1-year deal, $9 or $10 million. And then next we have him making is Christian Fulton. He's turned into a solid outside corner. Colts definitely could use him on their outside corner. You have some young pieces on that defense. I like Latu, the first rounder last year. Yeah, obviously have DeForest Buckner. Grover Stewart's a good player. But now you bring in Christian Fulton. Obviously they have their picks, so I know they obviously have some other needs. Ryan Kelly, their All-Pro center, a free agent. They can probably get that in the draft. If you wanted to maybe get another pass rusher with Hibson Ucom coming, he in pressure because of a torn Achilles. You can get that in the draft, maybe on the defensive back, but that's what you have them doing. It's hard to see where they go from here. They have a regime I have no faith in. Quarterback area I don't have much faith in, so do that. That gives you the best chance next year, and if it doesn't work out, oh, well, you screwed up, and hopefully Jim Irsay is awake enough to realize, yeah, let's make a change. But last but not least, the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they got a bunch of cap space to work with. I do think that they're going to let a couple of guys go. I think they're going to let go Christian Kirk. They were looking to trade him last year, and he ends up getting hurt. I don't see them keeping him on the squad. He's a very good receiver. But you save $10.5 million if you let him go. Also, Ronald Darby is washed. Not the top cover guard he once was. You save $2.5 million if you cut him. And that's what they do. Jacksonville, I just went over this. They are a mess. Khan is brutal as an owner. Their head coach looks like Curious George, but somehow he's stupider than Curious George. They're stuck with a quarterback who's got way too much money left on his deal. That deal hasn't even kicked in yet, which is scary. And they gotta add. I actually think Greg Van Roten will make a lot of sense for the Jaguars as well. Get yourself a piece on the interior offensive line because a tackle, Walker Riddle played well last year after stepping in for Cam Robinson after he got traded. The other tackle, Anton Harrison from our first runner, played well last year. The interior needs some work. Get a guy like Van Roten in there. I think it could help them a lot. And then I only have them making 2 other moves. The Jaguars are just a lost cause. But both in the secondary, that secondary was brutal last year. One is Eric Stokes from our first round pick corner by the Packers. I think 2 years, $16 million, something like that. He hasn't quite been what the Packers thought he was going to be, but he's not a horrible starting corner. You have Tyson Campbell there, who I like. I think he's a good player. But they need somebody else across from him badly. They thought the guy would be Ronald Darby last year. It was not. Eric Stokes is probably a little better. Bring him in. And then Julian Blackman. I was been the Colts the last few years. He's a solid safety. Under Cisco's a free agent. Got to replace and bring in Julian Blackman. This is going to be a long year. Trevor Lawrence, we don't really know what he is. On a horrible contract, coming off that injury. They have a lot of picks. I think with that 5th pick, they will either take Ted McMillan, or a top player on the defensive side of the ball, whether that's Mason Graham or whether that's somebody else. So I think they will try and take care of some of those needs in the draft. I mean, they have a new GM now, finally. So, but who knows what the Jacksonville Jaguars can do, because they are just a mess over there. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.